When I had been elected, you know, a lot of folks in Virginia kind of saw me as the technology guy. I built companies, I've been in high tech. A lot of my advocacy was to say, you know, how do we bring some of the opportunities of technology to rural communities, because I think one of the promises of an information age that only now is beginning to be realized, that we kind of, those of us who were in the industry in the mid-90s, perhaps oversold, and was one of the reasons why there is such kind of pushback on trade and globalization. We promised in the information age that you could build it anywhere. Well, we've shown you can build it in Shanghai and Bangalore. What we've not done a very good job of in this country is showing you can also build it in small town and rural America. And how do you offer those opportunities where you shouldn't have to move away from your hometown and find a world-class job? So a lot of my advocacy was how we would take on some of these opportunities in the 21st century economy and bring those opportunities to rural communities. But I get ahead of myself. Let me go back to the budget shortfall. Here I was, the technology governor, and asked what I thought was a relatively simple question. How much does the Commonwealth of Virginia spend on technology, particularly information technology? Remarkable thing when I asked that question. No one had ever asked what the state of Virginia, state government, at least spent. Because, unlike a lot of government operations, we had never looked at the enterprise of the Commonwealth of Virginia on a single enterprise-wide basis. We had 94 separate CIOs. To get the answer of what we spent on IT took 9 months and $1 million contract with an outside consultant to figure out what we cost. And what we also discovered when through that examination, that we had close to 3,000 separate servers. We had every email system known to man, none of which communicated to each other. We had literally thousands of computers that weren't appropriately licensed. And we said, how can we bring about a business-like reform to our state IT operations? Well, we launched something called the Virginia Information Technology Association, which is still, at least in state government parlance, at the cutting edge, sometimes the bleeding edge, of IT reform in government. We consolidated all of our 94 separate CIOs into a single CIO and looked at our technology, and particularly IT, from an enterprise-wide basis. We said as well that all of those state employees, more than 2,000 plus, who had worked in information technology would no longer be Department of Transportation employees or Department of Health employees or some XYZ small agency. We would actually collapse them all into a single enterprise. So from a technology standpoint, you actually have a career path and a career ladder. If you're a computer guy at the Department of Historic Resources, you pretty much have a dead-end path because it's a small agency and there was no place to move forward. We said we were going to professionalize our information technology services and technology services. And a funny thing happened. We actually started seeing tremendous savings. We launched a single internet-based portal to do all government purchases, called EVA. Initially, EVA had only about 6 state agencies back when I was first elected and 400 registered suppliers. Today, this internet-based portal has 500 state and local government agencies, 33,000 vendors. We've put about $14 billion worth of spend through this portal. Suddenly, the state could figure out where we were spending our dollars, again, through the use of technology. The second thing we said was, how can we make sure that we can use this knowledge and totally transform our procurement policies? Prior to our tenure, again, this is not in the technology field, but it was all driven by the technology changes we made. We had enormous duplication in state purchasing. For example, the Commonwealth of Virginia used to have 32 separate uniform contracts. You don't need 32 separate uniform contracts if you're trying to provide state services. So we took a whole series of all the procurement rules, consolidated in, tried to bid them out in a way that still protected small business and women business and minority business. And I always used to like to cite the example that we decreased the price of light bulbs from 38 cents to 23 cents. Now that doesn't close a $6 billion shortfall, but we buy a lot of light bulbs at the Commonwealth of Virginia. But it was, again, using technology to bring about common sense, business-like reforms. In an